beautiful view up here.
Over in that area there, looks like
So they're making their own bricks? Can we go down?
we're up so high, we don't.
This one is finished.
And I'll be back there. The developer here, I've been in Ghana full-time for 3 years, back and forth since 2019, a year in return. I came, when I touched the ground, I know I was gonna move here. I felt at home more so than the place I lived 38 previous years. I'm free here. I'm a man, I'm not a black man like the United States, I'm a man here. And so having the freedom, I wouldn't trade. I'm not going back to the States. You know, I did a tour there, and I think that's when I met the tour guide here. And so I came, started doing tours, bring people like yourself. I was going to build my property here. I bought 3 plots of land, and that was the first 3 plots that the down houses are on. And then as I was doing tours, more people wanted to build for them, and so all of a sudden I became a developer. I wasn't developing in the States. I did some parts of construction, rehab, things of that nature. A lot of different things I was doing in the States. Came here, and people wanted me to build for them, and so at first it was all bush. Nobody was down here, even that long steep hill, that wasn't there, so we had to put a makeshift road, and he's now trying to reshape it now, and had to put up street lights, electrical poles, all the infrastructure inside of here. We're gonna pave the main road, but we're trying to obtain as much land as possible to absorb some of the infrastructure costs, because the government's not gonna come in and put the roads in, and not gonna put the street lights in. This is stuff that's gonna be on the developer, which is me. And so I'm waiting to get more land, that way I can absorb more costs associated with putting all the infrastructure in, because nobody's gonna help contribute as far as the neighbors' X, Y, and Z, even though people are starting to build because I put a roadway in, and now people are starting to develop around the area. Yeah, so increasing the property value, things of that nature. So I want to get as much property around here as possible. So we're in a duplex now. There's another unit next to us. This is 3 bedrooms, 3.5 bath, has solar, has a pool at the top, and this sold for $180,000 USD.
I need a new realtor.
So the house is down there, 4 bedrooms, 4.5 bath, and those went for $220,000. That's 2,800 square feet down there. So this one, as it currently sits, has 1 bedroom at the bottom, but the rest of them that we're building now will have like an apartment the size of this unit here. So it has a bedroom, bathroom, small kitchen, and living room, and you can rent it out and live at the top, or live at the top and rent out the bottom, vice versa. And so you have a rental income coming. So that's one of the issues people have when they come to Ghana, is how I make money while I'm here. This unit here, she bought it from, she's in Kansas City, where I'm from. She bought this property, and now she rents it out Airbnb, $200 a night, 2-night minimum. So she gets around $2,000 to $2,500 a month here, Airbnb. So it's not bad. She comes and goes. The next one, we're getting that ready for Airbnb, and then the one next to that one, they'll be moving in about 3 weeks. So it's mother, she's about 73, living at the bottom. The daughter, she's about late 20s, early 30s. She's gonna be living at the top. And so out of this units here, everybody thinks that all my market is from the US, but she's from the US, they're from the US. I got 2 Ghanaians families, one on this side, one down there. I got a Liberian family that's gonna be over there, and I have a Nigerian gentleman from Houston that got a property down there. So if you're of African descent, you can buy. Non-African descent, you can't buy. You know what I mean? And so that's one of my rules here is I don't care if you can Airbnb it out, but you can have ownership in the property. And so we'll be finishing up these in the next 3 months. I say around.
So you're saying if you're not African descent, you can't buy?
No.
So if you ain't black, you ain't getting in. We getting in because we
You
black.
can't own it here. There's a lot of land in Ghana, but you can't have ownership.
So you're saying if I was white, forget it?
No,
No?
you can't.
Okay.
Yeah, forget it. Basically,
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I didn't come to Ghana to deal with that.
I hear you.
I came, I had my peace, deal with us. Sometimes the Ghanaians don't understand that because they don't deal with them directly like we've dealt with them past and directly. And so that's why. So this is the only criteria we have for buying inside of here. All the units are sold out. The property here, we have a waiting list of over 30 for the next batch of properties, for the next homes and duplexes. We're doing some condo units back there where the big hole dug out where y'all parked at the top. That's where you see that big hole with this underground parking. It'll be 7 stories, 7 floors. We have a rooftop restaurant, rooftop pool. We have a gym, a spa, a market, pharmacy. We'll put a clinic inside. That'll be 24 hours because that's one of the issues when you come to Ghana. What hospital are you going to go to? Health, things like that. So we're going to have like almost a self-sustaining small little city here. So you ain't got to go outside and try to figure things out.
So how close are you to getting the healthcare infrastructure together for this?
So once we get it built, then that's when we'll put it inside of there. So that's probably one of the first things we built is a clinic inside on the property.
She's a nurse.
Oh, yeah,
So yeah, we get a lot of interest, you know what I mean? People who, so we're building a collective. So when I went to Houston and spoke, went to 14 cities, did like 3 continents in like a month. Went to China first to get our materials. Then I went to New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Charlotte, Atlanta, Houston, Dallas, Chicago, Detroit, LA, Oakland, St. Louis, Kansas City. And so I got back about 2 weeks ago. And so what I was doing was building a collective of people who was interested in moving to Ghana. So we're doing things as a collective instead of working in solo and isolation. A lot of us work in isolation, silos, and we got to figure this thing out. You know, we ain't got no friends, we never had. We try to change things in the States, and I tell people on the tour, like, you need 3 things for change: people, power, and resources. We have none in the States. 12% of the population have no power, we have no resources. I was a little late because I was coming from a mining conference in Ghana about gold mining. So they did $4 billion in small-scale mining just in the last 6 months. $4 billion, the 6th largest gold producer in the world. It makes no sense. Even the top gold producer, the large-scale mining companies are all non-Ghanaian owned.
Wow. Yes, that's true.
Non-Ghanaian owned. Yeah. And the small scale was doing $4 billion in 6 months. So just imagine what the large scale companies are doing here in Ghana that's not Ghanaian owned. And so when you wonder why these roads look the way they look, where you wonder why the infrastructure looks the way it looks, is because they're taking the money out of the country. They've been pillaging and plumbing and stealing for hundreds of years, and it's going outside the country. So when us as people of African descent come back and say, how do we work together? How do we get involved in, the gold mining, agriculture, and real estate as a collective? That's what I've been building as a collective. I built this without taking any investment. I have buyers who bought my property, but I haven't taken out one investment dollar for this. And so now I'm at the point where I have a proof of concept that you say, okay, you see I'm here building, see I'm here developing, see the relationship that I have, see my workers that's here, and how do we build upon what I'm already started and created. So that's the whole reason of collective. We're looking at even now, before I left on the tour, it was $1 for 16 CDs when I left on the tour. I came back, it was like 12, and now it's like $10 per CD. Yeah, $10 per CD. That's 30%. So when I get my money sent over here, I lose 30% of my money now. You know what I mean? And so how do I now leverage where now I'm getting the CDs, where the United States, at some point, the dollar's going to crash. It's going to happen. With BRICS coming up, the political climate there, the tariffs, something's bound to happen. And I can't be vulnerable to whatever's going to happen in the U.S. So I have to look at these things on the other side here. So that's why we're looking at gold mining, agriculture, and aquaculture, and doing real estate here as a collective. It just only makes sense. Where we just can't be vulnerable and dependent on the U.S. dollar, even though that's where most of my money comes from. But also having almost like a mutual fund where we have all these different sectors we can invest in as a people. So that's what we're doing here, is trying to figure out how do we work together and bridge the gap, give back to the community. And it's not like I'm just building here. Most of the workers live in an area here. Supposed to get my development chief status by end of the year. We building a school in the area, a learning lab. We'll have free internet for the people here. We're putting in a main road. I bought street lights that's gonna go to the front of the community. So it's a lot of things. What was that?
One way in, one way out?
Yeah, it's one way in, one way out. So it's a lot of things we doing to help build the community instead of just taking it and moving over here. You know, there's a lot of money in Ghana. There's houses a lot bigger than these, and so they think that we come and gentrifying Ghana. You go a lot of places more rural than this, and you'll look and see there's some mansions in the middle of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, who lives here? Who's doing this? Who's doing that? But there's a lot of money here, but also it's a lot of poverty here. You know what I mean? So how can you increase and spread whatever you're gonna try to spread? So we also doing cross training as far as the workers. And so if you got workers here, you're part of the collective, you wanna build, you might not wanna be in the mountains, that's fine. But being a part of the collective, we can have a team that can go out and help you build your property. Make sure there's a system in place so you're not losing your money because you don't know how much cement is. You know how much iron rods is. This stuff changes daily. You don't know how much you're just paying for light fixtures. And so eliminate a lot of that stuff because we'll go to China to get our stuff from for wholesale and bring it here to reduce our price by 20%. You know, on the price to build it. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, 20%. So if you can do that, just imagine. So now you got a 25% tariff in the U.S. of stuff coming in from China. So that's going to raise all your costs. You know what I mean? This house right here, the property tax on this house is $200 for the year.
Wow.
$200 for the year. Insurance for this is about $200 for the year as well. So when you look at pricing models, and so the price of living is lower here. We have solar, we have battery backup, the water, you don't pay a water bill. Now we do tap into electricity here when like the Airbnb is here because we can't control when the people have 4 ACs on, you know, pools on, and everything's running and they're not even here. We can't control that and that run down the batteries that we have. But if you live in here, you pretty much don't need the AC. I got the windows and doors open, but it's cooler in here than a lot of it is outside without no AC. That's because we make our own bricks on the property. These are called earth bricks.
Yes.
These earth bricks are energy efficient, less harmful to the environment, and it just keeps it cooler on the inside. At nighttime, you don't need AC because it's just naturally cool inside, and even having a fan on sometimes is too much. You know, so I built it because we're in the mountains, it's 10% cooler than the crowd where you're probably staying at, and you always get a nice breeze coming in, depending on what time of the day it is. You always get something. That's why there's all these windows. We can just open the windows and get a good breeze in. So downstairs is a bedroom. Down there is the second largest bedroom down there, and she got it set for Airbnb. Upstairs is 2 bedrooms. The smallest bedroom is right here as you enter, and then you'll have, they're all en suites, so they all have their own bathrooms inside. This is the smallest bedroom, and then the other one is the master bedroom that you have there. So it's 4 stories. So as you go up, the view gets better as you go up. It's a better view at nighttime because you have the city lights at night. That over there is called Dodowa, that city over there. And then the next city over there in town is called Timma. So nighttime, you see the city lights. It's a nice view. So you get the California Hill type vibe without the California prices. You know, if you're in California, it'd be like $3 million because of the views, X, Y, and Z. So, and then the top floor is where the pool is at. So there's a pool up there. So we have like a 1% management fee for this. So that covers basic home and pool maintenance. It covers landscaping, trash collection, and it also covers somebody come clean your house once a week. So this is what we're doing.
Give me like that, Kelly.
Yeah, this is what we're doing at the Beyond Investments. We call it the Beyond because 19 was called the year return, and then 2020 was called Beyond. And so we call it the Beyond Investment because now we're coming back return to live, reclaim, and be part of the community. So that's why we call it the Beyond Investments. So that's why we're moving into Beyond Collective. So how do we do this as a collective of people? And so, yeah, I hope you enjoy, see you stay, and come back and make it home. There's a lot of opportunities here.
Thank you. We appreciate it. This is
the content,
amazing.
you said one $80, right?
Yeah, this was one.
US dollars.
Uh-huh.
Is the content extra, like you have to get your refrigerator?
It comes with a refrigerator, because of everything was in here. Washer, dryer, combo, refrigerator.
Just
So,
have your furniture with the
Yeah, just furniture. So we got like furniture packages for like, I think 12 to 15K depending on the size. So duplex, I think 12, 15 for the house.
Get mom back on, y'all. Look at one of the markets out there.
Yeah, but feel free. You can try going upstairs. Just watch the steps. Like one step is a little bit higher than the rest. You got to be careful with Ghana steps. They do a lot of things.
So this is upstairs. Little play area and the pool. Man. It's got solar over there. Look at that view. And they got the greenhouses up there. It's on the bottom floor.